Good evening, folks, and welcome to the Tuesday edition of FSU Weather. I'm student meteorologist Aaron Saray here on this gorgeous Tuesday, or Monday afternoon, I should say. Right now, it is currently 90 degrees under sunny conditions over Doak Campbell Stadium with a nice breeze out of the north at 12 miles per hour. Right now, across the area, it's pretty dry with only a few showers over towards I-75, but those are making their way towards the southwest and shouldn't bother us here locally over the Big Bend. Current temperatures across the region, we're staying mostly in the upper 80s across much of the area, perhaps near 90 near Sumatra, but for the most part, it's a pretty toasty day across the area. But tonight in Tallahassee, we're seeing temperatures down into the upper 60s, so actually a pretty nice night to perhaps go out for a walk. Really nice night outside. And for tonight's headlines, we'll see that heat wave expected for much of the south. Currently, temperatures are in the 90s in Arkansas, but we'll talk more about that here in a bit. Rain on tap for the northeast and in California. An update on Hurricane Fiona and the effects of the storm. All that and more in FSU Weather.
Happy Monday, folks. This is student meteorologist Evan O'Regan.
And this is student meteorologist Nico Sapienza.
We have a lot to cover here on FSU Weather on this Monday edition. We have, as Aaron mentioned earlier, that September heat wave that's going to start gripping the southeast. Even here in Tallahassee, we could make a run at, say, 97 by Thursday afternoon. So feeling the heat here. And what about those tropics? Those are heating up too. Yeah,
definitely. Fiona, as everybody knows, it just hit Puerto Rico. The whole island is without power right now. And it just strengthened into a Category 2 hurricane within the past few minutes.
That's right, and some places in Puerto Rico have seen over 2 feet of rain this weekend, so immense flooding there. But we'll take one look at that later. We're going to head over to Nicholas right now with a look locally around Tallahassee.
Thank you, Evan. So yeah, right now in Tallahassee, things are pretty toasty. Current temperatures are 90 degrees, and this beautiful sky, not a cloud in sight. We do have a fair breeze from the north at 12 miles per hour, cooling things a little bit, but it's going to be overall pretty warm. As seen right here on the current temperatures, everything is pretty much in the mid-80s or mid to high 80s all throughout the Big Bend region. Only in Madison is it partly cloudy, as you're going to see right now with the dew points. You're going to be as you go east, you're going to be seeing more moisture, and that's why the rain is situated more in the center of the state. While as you go west, it's going to be a little bit drier, and the dew points aren't as bad as they were a couple weeks ago, but it still is going to feel really muggy, and with those high temperatures in the 80s and 90s, it's going to be pretty brutal conditions. So as for the heat index here in Monticello, 96. So you people out there, stay hydrated. It's going to be very warm for the next few days. For the temperature almanac, here in Tallahassee today, 92, actually pretty close to the record in 2005 of 99 degrees. Our low is 69. Which is about our average, but nothing near our record in 1981. And for our hour by hour, so as typical mornings go here in Tallahassee, it's going to be pretty low 70s in the morning, but it's going to skyrocket up to the 90s, and it's just going to stay like that for the rest of the afternoon, staying really warm, and it's going to be pretty hot conditions. Here is the local satellite, and as I was saying earlier, most of the moisture is going to stay in the middle of the state. It's not going to threaten us or make our way into the west, and it's going to stay really dry and clear for the time being. And as for tonight's forecast, there's going to be clear skies all throughout the Big Bend region, great for stargazing, and temperatures in the high 60s and low 70s. So it's going to be a pretty nice night if you guys are doing any activities. For tomorrow's forecast, high temperatures, 94 in Tallahassee, 92 St. Mark's, all throughout the region. I say to you guys again, please stay hydrated. Please make sure you're taking these temperatures very seriously. As taking a look for the week ahead, clear skies, low rain chances throughout the rest of the week, and there's going to be 96 on Thursday, so please pay attention to that day, and I'm passing it on to Priscilla for a look at Florida.
Thank you, Nicholas. Taking a look at Florida right now, we've got our cams right here. It's looking a little cloudy in Orlando, but actually it's looking pretty cloudy basically everywhere. But yeah, taking a look at our current temperatures across the state, we've got hot, a little stormy here even in Orlando. We've got mid to upper 80s, and even hitting 90 here in Tallahassee and 89 in Pensacola. Looking at our satellite and radar, we've got lots of storms over here in Miami and South Florida, reaching into Lake Okeechobee. But the rest of the state is looking mostly clear except for a little patch over here in North Florida that's getting a little bit of rain. So the rest of the state's got some good conditions. It's very hot, but there's a lot of sun to get outside and enjoy the weather if you'd like. Taking a peek at our storm outlook, we've got a non-severe risk for storms throughout the rest of the state. Again, it's pretty hot, so that heat is really just bringing the moisture into the air. And looking at our Florida forecast, Miami is hot, 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 and stormy, stormy, stormy. We've got upper 80s and very high chances for rain. And looking over at Tampa, same deal, upper 80s, even hitting 90 on Thursday with a 60% chance of rain tomorrow. So if you're in Tampa, maybe not a good day to hit the water over in the bay. I would stay inside, perhaps. And looking over at Orlando, we've got upper 80s, hitting 91 on Thursday with a 70% chance of rain tomorrow, even having lightning storms. So make sure to drive safe if you're out in that Orlando traffic. Taking a look at Jacksonville, same deal, upper 80s, hitting 90 on Thursday. Lower chances for rain though, so it'll be more comfortable and more sunny, so it'll be hot. And then at Pensacola, mid 90s, very hot, sun, sun, sun. So make sure you're wearing sunscreen if you are out in Pensacola. And taking a look at our Panama City forecast, very hot, 93 for our highs, and 70s, lower 70s for our lows. So it's looking comfortable at night, but very hot during the day. Taking a look at tonight's forecast, we've got mid 70s, lower 70s, even hitting 69 degrees here in Tallahassee. So if you want to take a walk out, get out tonight, maybe catch some dinner, sit outside, it's going to be a comfortable night here in Tallahassee. And looking at tomorrow's forecast, we've got mid 90s here in the Panhandle, but the rest of the state's got upper 80s, so it's going to be pretty warm as well as cloudy. And now we're going to take a look at the southeast with Aaron.
Thanks, Priscilla. That's right. Across much of the southeast, like Florida here, we are starting to approach the end of the rainy season, and therefore we'll see most of those toasty conditions across much of the southeast, especially off towards the western portions where we've seen some 90s. But across radar right now, we see most of the storms are located across north central and down the peninsula into towards Miami. So there you might see a few showers and storms where they do, and where they're actually, I should say, where they're still in the rainy season. But across much of the southeast, it is remaining pretty dry right now and very sunny outside. So our current temperatures across much of the region, we're seeing some mid-90s up near Little Rock there, 95 degrees. But as you make your way further south and east, the temperatures do cool off a little bit, but that's because of that cooling effect by those showers and storms over across the spine of the state there, with Orlando sitting at 81 degrees right now, Tampa 84, and Miami down into the middle 80s. But why are we not seeing many storms here? It's because of this dry air here. So we have that swirl coming in out of the north, and it's allowing for this dry air to kind of pivot around here across the Panhandle. And that's what's limiting some of those showers from making their way off off to the west here. But we do still have a few showers across the spine of the state. But of course, offward we're seeing temperatures in the 90s. That's where we have that sunny conditions. And like Priscilla mentioned earlier, make sure you have some sunscreen on because it is warm, it is dry outside. For those current dew points right now are for the most part remaining fairly dry across like Atlanta and down to Montgomery, where they're sitting in the upper 50s to low 60s. But across Florida, we're typical this time of year. We're still sitting in the low 70s, where they're still not catching a break from that summertime weather. But locally here, we're sitting still pretty humid outside in the mid 60s. And as for our heat index, where we see that triple digit there, Memphis at 101 there. So when you have those dew point numbers still fairly high in the 60s and those high temperatures up in the upper 90s, that's where you have those high heat indexes. So make sure you do take precautions, limit your time outdoors if you are in places like Memphis, all the way down towards New Orleans. But still take that precaution too, even over Florida, where it's still pretty humid and hot outside. It does not take 101 to have to take precautions and stay indoors. But for the current wind, we see those winds breezing out of the northeast there at around 10 or 5 to 10 miles per hour across much of the southeast. A little bit lighter as you make your way over towards places like Little Rock and Shreveport, where that high pressure system is staying off to our north and west. And just like we've seen earlier with the radar, those showers actually intersect right here, and they stop right where we see the SPC putting that general outlook there across much of Florida. But where we have that high pressure system across the southeast, we're staying pretty high and dry. And for our storm outlook for day 2, we're seeing a pretty similar situation across much of the Florida Peninsula, where we still have those daytime sea breeze thunderstorms across much of the spine of the state, but almost a rinse and repeat conditions off towards southeast. But we may not see a few showers and storms, perhaps up towards places like Virginia, but those are going to stay well off to our north for day 3. And for the next 48 hours, we'll see those storms build across much of Florida. They'll come up again. But then see that swirl right there? That is Hurricane Fiona. And that will actually shift and actually help bring some of that drier air across much of the southeast. But tomorrow's forecast temperatures should remain in the mid-90s across much there, even potentially go up to 100 degrees in Tupelo.
Thank you, Aaron. So now let's get into sports. It's that time of year where the fall sports are in full swing. We are also going to go through Monday Night Football, and we can see the type of conditions that those games will be seeing tonight. But first off, if you look over at the Sportsplex, if you have a game today for IM or club, it is a beautiful sky. When the lights come on, there will be no conditions that will impede your spectating or participating abilities. The Vikings versus Eagles game in Philadelphia will be experiencing a little bit of rain. It's at 75 degrees. It should be comfortable. Hopefully they can stay dry if they are watching that tonight. Looking over at the whole United States, we are really only seeing areas of problems up here where that game is going on. So that's going to be the Jets, that's going to be the Giants if they're practicing, and the Eagles, unfortunately, for their game tonight. As I just said, it's going to be up here in the northeast portion of the United States. We are experiencing some rain there. For that game, as I said, it is tomorrow going to be a pretty good temperature, and it's going to get a little bit lower and chances of thunderstorms as the week goes on. So for Florida State sports, we are playing a soccer game in Louisville. Hopefully we can beat our ACC opponents just like football did earlier this week in Louisville. It's going to be 68 degrees. As I just said, it's going to be a beautiful day tomorrow, 91, low at 71. And as the week continues, we're going to be seeing that rain pick up just as we did in Philadelphia. So volleyball, you will be inside, so this doesn't really matter to you, but if you're walking to the game, I recommend bringing your parents here. It is going to be the start of a parents' weekend, hopefully, and the start of a weekend full of victory for Florida State. We are playing Notre Dame on Friday at 6:30. And bring your parents to that football game. It is going to be 69 degrees, beautiful. It's a little bit later in the day, so we are going to see cooler temperatures, slight clouds. It should be very comfortable for you and your parents this weekend. Looking at the weekend planner, we can see that it's a beautiful sunny day. It's going to be a little bit warmer than we've seen, but we've been warning you guys about that. But I'm going to pass it off to Evan for a broader look at the National.
That's right. Thanks, Isabel. And speaking of Florida State football, you're just talking about that. Florida State football is 3-0. Who would have thought that would be the case at this point in the season? I could say that I did not expect that, but I'm pleasantly surprised, as everybody else should be. But what's not so pleasant here is these temperatures here in the center of the country. 97 there in Kansas City, and it's September 19th. So it's pretty late in the season to be seeing numbers like this, especially for this part of the country. So definitely make sure you're staying hydrated, not staying outside for too long. And actually, if I go back there for a second, you saw Bismarck was actually at 89. That's all the way up in North Dakota. But we have this high pressure system that's dominating the southeast, and that's just pumping in that heat and humidity to the center part of our country. And that's going to start to bring some warmer conditions to the southeast by the time we get later in the week. Like I said earlier, temperatures around Tallahassee could get into the upper 90s by the time we get to, say, Wednesday or Thursday. So just be aware of that. We are still dry out here in the west, dealing with those drier conditions, that drought, that mega drought that they've been in for years now. But there are those high pressure systems there in the southeast, and there's also a ridge of high pressure here in the southwest, and those storms are kind of riding along that. The rain you see down here in the desert southwest, that's the southwest monsoons, because it's still monsoon season there. And we have our next storm system just off the coast of California, pumping in moisture to California. It's much needed rainfall there as well. But if you factor in that heat and humidity, it just makes it feel unbearable out there. 98 feels like temperature in Kansas City, 101 in Memphis, Tennessee. So that's really that stifling air out there, so that's really uncomfortable. Same story for San Antonio, Dallas, New Orleans, all feeling the heat, and eventually that, again, will slide towards the south and east by the time we get later in the week. But right now, the southeast is dealing with those drier air conditions that Aaron was mentioning earlier. You can kind of see off in the corner, there's Fiona. That's going to make a run towards Bermuda by the time we get to later in the week. Ollie's going to deal with that later in the tropics. But there's that, again, that ridge of high pressure where we have those storms riding along there up in Minnesota and also in the northeast dealing with some rain showers there as well. As for active alerts, we have some fire weather warnings. Remember how I said it was so dry out there in the west? This is a consequence of that. We have a fire weather warning until 8 o'clock tonight. I wouldn't be surprised if that gets pushed later as well because I don't see conditions really improving all that much out there. And also because of the southwest monsoon, we have a flood watch in effect all the way until Friday at midnight. So extensive rainfall there, just a zoomed in look at there. We also have some air quality alerts on the western coast there in Oregon, just south of Portland. So be aware of that if you're sensitive to those unhealthy air conditions. But as for satellite and radar, we do have those sea breeze thunderstorms dominating the Florida Peninsula. There again is the southwest monsoon, and there again is our system there in California, bringing some much needed rainfall, helping out that drought there. Much needed rainfall for the western coast. There's that system in the northeast. There could be some severe storms with this as well, just a marginal threat, especially up near Lake Ontario. Those will just be bringing some gusty winds to that area. No tornado threat, no real hail threat either. Any hail that does form will be very small in size. But just be aware that some of these could bring some gusty winds, so just secure any loose items that may be around your home for that. As for the drought, we're still dealing with it, especially in the center part of our country now, and in the northeast. Those storms there will bring some relief to that drought. It's a very unusual spot to see drought this time of the year, so much welcomed rainfall there. And again, for California, you see how they're still dealing with that exceptional drought there in the mountains, so that rainfall will definitely help them out as well. But I don't really see any real help coming for the center part of our country, especially for Kansas and Oklahoma, as we see, I'll show you here in a second, that rainfall outlook. This is the storm outlook for today. Again, that marginal threat up there in upstate New York and New England, bringing some gusty winds there. But as for that rainfall, not really seeing a whole lot of relief for the center part of our country, but the southwest and the northeast definitely getting some help there with those drought conditions. As for tonight, it looks like warm conditions here in the southeast, cooler out west. And then for tomorrow, same story as today. Look at Memphis, Tennessee, triple digits there, Ollie. So as we transition into fall, I'm looking for a change around here.
Me too, but unfortunately fall does bring hurricane season. So everybody, we're going to be looking at these really important storms that are impacting the Pacific and the Atlantic. Everybody knows about Fiona. But we have Madeline swirling around in the Pacific. Seems like it's actually going to die off once we reach Saturday in the morning. Not really impacting any land right now, so not really anything to worry about. You might be seeing some potential rain down in this peninsula right here in Mexico, but really nothing to know. As for Fiona, if you guys have any family in Puerto Rico, we really have our hearts out to them. They were really impacted over the weekend by Hurricane Fiona. Right now, it actually is a Category 2, right leaving Hispaniola, leaving the Dominican Republic. It's been really raging, dropping a lot of rain, a lot of landslides, mudslides, you name it. That typical hurricane impacts is actually going to continue to get stronger as it goes northward in the Atlantic because it's being influenced by those upper level winds that are just going to shoot it upwards near Bermuda. But thankfully it is going to be missing the United States because of that high pressure that we've been seeing. So it has a really nice corridor that it's going to be moving up towards, but we're really hoping that folks in Bermuda are going to be okay. We are looking at a disturbance kind of in the same area where Fiona formed, a 20% chance. Unfortunately, if it does get into the Caribbean, it does really have a very favorable environment to form. It's very warm. We are seeing sea surface temperatures 90 degrees, guys. We have a lack of wind shear since Fiona just moved through. We have a lot of just really favorable conditions for development. As for this disturbance, you do have a higher percentage, but it's not really as important because it's going to be missing a lot of land, especially for us in the United States. But we are keeping a look at it. It's still going to be not maybe warmer sea surface temperatures like we're seeing in the Caribbean, but we still want to keep a look at that disturbance. Water vapor, you can really see that moisture down here near the equator, up where Madeline is, and over here near Hispaniola where you see Fiona swirling about, real angry, real moist there, you guys. Something we really have to be looking at. As for wind shear, you can actually see where Fiona is. There's really just maneuvering that wind, just really favorable conditions because that wind shear won't be able to tear that storm up. And because of that funnel it's creating, that lack of wind shear, you could really see that disturbance that's around here could have a lot of ease into getting stronger and potentially impacting more of these islands down in the Caribbean. As I mentioned, the sea surface temperature is real warm in the Caribbean. Look at that. In the Gulf, very, very, very good conditions for a hurricane, you guys. That warm air, they love that warm, moist air. Future radar. We do have a kind of a high pressure system over the Florida Peninsula right now that's really keeping these storms at bay for us. It's really kind of seeing just typical convection, but you are going to be seeing some of these storms near Bermuda, near the northern area of the Atlantic for us. 72-hour rainfall. Seeing a lot of rainfall in Central America, not really impacted by any tropics, but for hurricane preparedness, you guys, it's really important to have these things on deck for hurricane season. Food, battery operated devices, emergency medicine, everything, you guys, everything you can think of that's important for your family, make sure you have it. And now we're going to pass things off to Priscilla with the lifestyle.
Thank you, Ali. So taking a look at our lifestyle forecast, we've got our cameras here showing Sportsplex, Panama City, St. George, and Lake Bradford. It's looking very great if you're at the res today. Wish I was there, but instead I'm giving you guys this awesome weather forecast. So looking at our current temperatures across the Big Bend region, we're seeing upper 80s, even getting close to 90 in Sumatra. So again, very high temperatures, very hot, but a nice night perhaps to take a walk as it cools down into the evening. Looking at our stargazing forecast, again, these clear skies we're seeing are making for a really great conditions to go stargazing. So tonight's moon is a waning crescent, and we see our sunset is coming earlier and earlier. So if you want to get out there, tonight will be a good night to stargaze. And taking a look at our dog walk forecast, it's going to be chillier in the morning. Our mornings are getting cooler and cooler. So if you want to take your dog out for a walk, I'd say around 7, 8, 9 a.m. is probably the best time to avoid that heat as it gets hotter and hotter into the afternoon. Looking at our airport delays at the Tallahassee airport, we're seeing no delays. It's a little cloudy, very hot though, clear skies. So if you're taking a flight, you should see no delays tonight. Here we go, and we've got our look at our flights. Very warm throughout the United States, but there are some storms in Orlando. So there's also a risk, storms also in New York, so there's a risk for delays out there. Looking at tomorrow's bike cast, if you want to go and take a bike ride around town, hit the St. Mark's Trail maybe. Again, same thing as our dog walk forecast. It's probably best to head out in the morning so you miss that high heat and the humidity as it gets, again, further into the afternoon. Looking at our marine forecast, 89 degrees with a light chop in the seas, and the water's going to be pretty warm, mostly sunny. So if you want to take a boat out on the water, tomorrow's going to be a great day for that. And for our nightlife forecast, if you're going to hit the clubs, maybe go out with your friends, it's going to be 70 degrees tonight, and we've got some slight winds, but it's going to be mostly clear. So if you're taking a walk around, you should have some good conditions. If you're stuck in the library because you've got midterms coming up soon, like I do, bring a jacket for sure because it's going to be chilly. Strozier is always a little chilly, and you gotta be comfortable if you're studying, especially for a long time. Looking at our weekday planner, we've got mid-90s, so it's going to be hot, but our mornings are going to be chillier. And for our countdown to fall, we're getting really close to fall in 3 days, Halloween, 42, and Thanksgiving. And now we're going to take a look at our local clothes with Nico.
Thank you, Priscilla. When you're looking at your live look at Doak, there's not a single cloud in the sky right now. It's beautiful out. It's still hot out. It's that time of the year, it's still going to be hot. But looking around your area, you got sun, 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 sun everywhere. You got a little bit of clouds in Madison, but the rest of the area is sunny. The only clouds you're getting in Madison are from the storms out east of there, and they're not going to affect you either. Your winds today are out of the northeast, around 12 miles an hour, so you got a little bit of a breeze today. I noticed that this morning when I was walking to class that it was a bit breezier than it has been recently. And looking at your radar, There's nothing in Tallahassee at all. Now out here over southern Georgia, it's died out now, but you had a complex of thunderstorms move through the Okefenokee Swamp. You have some showers in the central part of Florida. And here's your future radar for that. They die out this evening like they normally do at this time of year because they form along the sea breeze. Tuesday evening, it looks like there's going to be another round of showers and storms just like there was today. For tonight in Tallahassee, it's going to be 69 degrees and partly cloudy with your winds out of the south at 5 miles an hour. And then it's going to be clear and 71 degrees tonight. And then taking a look at your week ahead, it's going to be sunny skies all week. Look at your 96-degree temperature on Thursday. And now I'm going to pass things off to the desk.
Yeah, those hot temperatures. Thanks for that, Nico. Those hot temperatures that we've been seeing. How do you feel about that, Nicholas? Have you been outside recently?
Yeah, I've actually been outside quite a bit. I actually like that it's been pretty clear. I've been able to do a bunch of activities, such as play tennis and go to the circus, which actually this Friday we have our first family weekend show, so I think everyone should be able to go check it out. Although please be prepared for those hot temperatures because we will be experiencing temperatures in the mid to upper 90s for most of this week.
Yeah, I can't. I'm not really one for the heat. I really can't stand it. But it seems like you play tennis, so have you been really keeping up with the sports this season?
Yeah, I have actually. I've been keeping up a lot with the Florida State sports. I'm glad we're actually doing good here with all our sports, especially our women's soccer. We've actually outscored our opponents 21-0.
That's insane. Oh my gosh,
incredible.
That's incredible.
I'm definitely trying to go out to the next home game against whoever they play.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. I love soccer. I'm a really big Florida State women's soccer fan. We were national champions last year. Hopefully we keep it up this year. I'm super hyped. But hey, our football team, 3-0. Can you believe it? I really can't.
I'm excited for this game. Luckily, it's at night at 8 p.m., so we won't be getting those brutal midday temperatures of 90 degrees. And I think the players would really appreciate having those cooler temperatures to play at night, and they can actually do the best that they can.
Oh yeah, I honestly haven't been to any football games this season. Normally I kind of give up by the first game. I'm not super into sports like that. But yeah, that's so exciting. I might have to catch one of those evening games and take advantage of that. But yeah, really looking forward to, fall. And it's actually not going to be getting cooler. It's actually going to be getting hotter. But hopefully we are experiencing more of that fall weather soon. But yeah, can't wait for that. A great sports season. Really looking forward to all this. And actually, you guys, we want to share with you our socials. So you guys should follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/FSUweather. You can also like us on Facebook at facebook.com/FSUweather.
You guys can follow us on YouTube at youtube.com/FSUweather. You can follow us on Instagram at FSUweather. And we'd like to pass it on to Isabel now.
To end the show, we're going to take one last look at the week ahead. We've been expecting this hot week, very warm conditions for Parents' Weekend. Bright, sunny sky all throughout the week. It's going to be a beautiful day for the football game. And good thing it's a little bit later because Saturday is going to be very warm. Thank you for tuning in today. We will see you the same time tomorrow for FSU Weather.